Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sherard Show. I'm your host, Sherard. We have a very special morning episode of the Sherard Show. It's so exciting. This is actually Mother's Day weekend as well. We're so excited for today's episode. We have some guys that have beat anybody up on the show. We got a martial artist, we got a comedian who's also a boxer as well. We're so excited about today's episode of the show. It's good to see everybody. Everybody doing all right? Can we get a round of applause? Everybody doing all right? Again, it is Mother's Day weekend. How are you doing, Joe?
I'm not a mother's student.
It's mighty good to see my buddy Joe. Our last episode we were together is actually trending. We had Kayla Ray on the show. We also had DM Punch, and then we also had Josie Cat. It was absolutely an incredible episode. I think that trended like 100,000 in 1 week. It was just amazing how many people watched. And I thank you for my buddy Joseph Williams. He's always bringing some of the greatest guests. Give it up for Joseph. And then looking before, the gentleman, Dannon Green, is going to be on the show. He's absolutely hilarious. He's worked with some of the best. This man he's just hilarious. I don't even know how I'm going to get through the interview. It's kind of like when I was talking to, had Tommy Davidson on the show. I just couldn't get through it. This guy's absolutely hilarious. Give it up for Mr. Dannon Green. Going to be here on the show. Then we have a gentleman who has been in the martial arts and in films for 44 years. He's worked with some of the best. I mean, he can chop up a table and all of these things with just point and look at it. The man himself, Mr. John Ozuna, is going to be on the show as well. And then the biggest draw of them all is my 5 points. Go ahead. See, I didn't hear anything, but my 5 points. We have a very special Mother's Day edition of my 5 points, which is brought to you by Ask Me How to Get a Free Phone, ladies and gentlemen. Joe's bringing it over here. We have our free phone. If you can qualify, you'll get this beautiful fold-out Android phone. This is a beautiful phone for those who qualify. It's absolutely free. You don't even have to pay the taxes on it. Just ask Sherard, look at the link below, and I'll get you this free phone. Thank you, sir. And so for my 5 points today, we're going to talk about our special Mother's Day edition. Why? The 5 reasons you need to appreciate your mother. Point number 1, you need to appreciate your mom because when nobody ever believed in you, Mama was right there to believe in you. Is that right?
That's right. That's right.
Can the church say amen? Point number 2, you need to appreciate your mom while you have her. Because when you were broke, nobody would give you any money but Mama. Mama would be like, man, boy, I ain't got no money. Hand me my purse. Remember Mama used to do that? Just be cussing you out while she's giving you money. Point number 3, you need to appreciate your mom because when all the chips are down, there's always that one person there that's with you, that's rooting on you. When you're in baseball, you're comedy or whatever, and nobody's in the audience, who's that one person that's clapping? Mom. Give it up for Mom. Point number 4, you need to appreciate Mom while you have her because Mama's going to always tell you the truth when nobody else is going to tell you the truth. Mom's going to be the one to tell you the truth. Is that right? And Mom's the one, she's the one that picks the boogers out of your nose. You remember you said booger, you know, Mom's going to come here. Mom. And my final point, you need to appreciate Mom while you have her because you'll never get to heaven if you mistreat your mom. That's my 5 points. Is that true? You never get to heaven. You mistreat your mom, and you're not going to heaven. I guarantee you that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we're going to have the martial arts expert, the man himself, who's in the movie The Bouncer. He's worked with some of the biggest names. The man himself, Mr. John Ozuna, will be right here on the Sherard Show right after this quick commercial. We have two very beautiful guests and one very talented rapper.
Ever since I was a kid, I loved rap music. Growing up, I loved rap music. Eminem is my protege.
I come from a family of musicians, and my grandparents own the Hollywood Professional School.
Who's there to save Superwoman?
Which is the dirtiest sport or dirtiest business? Is it boxing or is it
Sweetheart looks good, drums love bass.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sherard Show. I'm your host, Sherard, for a very special morning episode of the Sherard Show. So excited for this Mother's Day weekend as well. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers there as well, and the mothers to be. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman, again, to my right, he has been in the industry for many, many years. He can fight. He's actually a grand master, ladies and gentlemen, and he's on a new film called The Bouncer. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for the man himself, Mr. John Ozuna, first time on the Sherard Show.
I don't deserve that. Thank you very much.
John, I appreciate that, man. It's such an honor. You know, a lot of times, so many people, they're just so humble, but they have such an impressive resume, and you're one of them. You've been doing it for so long and doing it very well. But tell us a little bit about what does it mean to be a grand master?
You know, my goodness, I have 44 years in martial arts. You know, and I'm of the generation back when where Bruce Lee was in. You know, 1971 through 1973. You know, his movies came out and influenced many, many generations, and I was one of them. I wanted to be that. So, and I remember very specifically, I remember my parents took us through a drive-in movie theater. I think we saw like a spaghetti western Clint Eastwood movie. We're leaving the drive-in, and you can see all the different screens there. And I'm just a little kid of 5 or so years old, 6 years old, looking at the rear window, and I'm seeing this guy flying through the air and doing all these amazing things and the charisma. I'm going, I want to see that. I want to see that. And I'd seen every movie, and every time it just instilled my love for what I do in terms of martial arts. Then again, I studied martial arts. Through it, I've traveled the world. I've fought full contact fighting all over Asia, all over Europe, South America, United States, and lived to tell about it. And it's just been an amazing experience for me.
Now, John, you're what degree black belt are you in Kung Fu?
So I'm a 5th degree, 6th degree black belt. So right there. So when you go from master to grandmaster, it is a lot less of a curriculum that you have to learn and get the movements down and then replay them back. It's more with what you do with the system, the giving back. So that's where the teaching and the putting focus on how this can affect somebody's life in a positive way, whether it be that it addresses their physical health, their mental health, their emotional health. In martial arts, they refer to mind, body, and spirit. Addresses those 3 very important elements that we experience every single day of our lives.
Now, John, one thing that's interesting is that oftentimes you see in films, like when I was growing up, you're right, Bruce Lee, absolutely love Bruce Lee. He was the it of its. But then, it came on later, then you see the Jackie Chans. And then, it was like Samurai Saturday. I remember Samurai Saturday, everybody wanted to fight and stuff like that. But then later on came the Van Dams and the Steven Seagals and Jet Lis and things like that. But oftentimes you hear like Steven Seagal says he's a grandmaster. And then you hear about Jean-Claude Van Damme. They kind of had a banter going back and forth about, who's legit, not. But do you know by experience who's really the ones that when they're doing those action scenes and stuff is actually fighting and not using stunt doubles and things like that?
I mean, I really applaud all of those things that you talked about, because every single one of them had the ability to go ahead and perform their own stunts. But over a period of time, even Chuck Norris, as he matured in age, often used a stunt double to do the more complicated movements and to take the falls and the hits. But Jackie Chan, my goodness, Jackie Chan and Tom Cruise are the ones that just do everything by themselves. So when he's crashing through a building and when he's falling, 5 floors, that's him. That's him.
Wow, that's amazing. One thing that's interesting for those just tuned in, we're talking to the legendary man himself, actor as well as Grand Master John Ozuna on the Sherard Show. And one thing interesting, John, and we'll do this after the commercial break, but my executive producer, Joe, every time somebody's a martial artist and they come on, he likes to test to see if you can really fight. So he doesn't mind if you break his bones, but he just want to make sure you really are who you are. Is that right, Joe?
I don't want to hurt.
But last time we had, so he's want to make sure that you're legit in what you said. I'm just joking. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we'll have more with Mr. John Ozuna on the Sherard Show right after. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sherard Show. I'm your host, Sherard, for our Saturday conversation with the man himself, Mr. John Ozuna, on the Sherard Show, talking about being a grand master and what it takes as well. So, John, now, was it martial arts first, then movies, or was it vice versa?
It was that, it was martial arts first, because that's what got my foot into the door. I had competed in the Long Beach Internationals, which coincidentally is the same one that Bruce Lee competed or demonstrated at, where he was discovered. And I had taken first place in my divisions, and there just happened to be a TV producer that was there and said, "Hey, could you do that on my show?" And I said, I'd be happy to. And that was it. That was the seed. And from there were just other opportunities. And the great majority of what I do are action films. And I've had the great privilege of having a lot of the lead roles, which required for me to really balance the acting portion. Because again, I don't want to just have this lopsided presentation of myself where so obviously I know my martial arts, but let's say I'm just a horrible actor. So I really took the time to study. I'm a graduate of the Stanislavski method acting, and had amazing teachers, and that helped to create the balance. So that way, I'm hopefully projecting myself in a way that's honest and sincere, and it's almost like using my martial arts with my mouth up.
Now, give me a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. That's some quite impressive stuff. Now, John, when it comes down to it, for example, let's talk about your film, The Bouncer. You're playing as a bouncer? Tell us a little bit about the film.
Yeah, so what it is, it's my character is somebody that born and raised in the United States, and gets into some trouble. He has a history of protecting women. So at a club, he sees a lady being mistreated. He goes in there, he takes care of it, but he actually. So he's on the lam. He's running away. So he moves to Romania to change his life, to escape what he's gone through, but yet finds the same situation there. Again, he's a bouncer there, trying to make a new way, a better life, and he finds himself in the same situation.
Oh, but that sounds like a very good story. Where can we watch it?
So it is streaming all over the world, nationally and internationally. Just look at the movie The Bouncer. Now, there's two movies. One is Jean-Claude Van Damme actually has a movie that's called The Bouncer as well. So you're going to see both of them come up. And anywhere that you can stream a film is where you will find it.
Wow, we definitely want to check that out as well. So now, John, when it comes down to it, at what point in your martial art career do you have to register your body as a weapon?
A lot of people have asked me that specific question. And it's a little bit old school, because back in the day, they said, hey, if you get a black belt and you get this set skill, that you should let the police know that you're a deadly weapon. Mm-hmm. Martial arts does not guarantee a safe and productive outcome. What it does, it definitely increases your chances. Without revealing a lot about my experiences, it has been there in the most practical sense myself. I have been in situations where I've been jumped by several guys. I have been shot at several times, people with knives and stuff like that, and I've had to use this in the most practical way that I knew. And I'm here now because of that martial arts. Again, doesn't guarantee it, but it definitely increases your chances of survival.
John, who would be dumb enough to jump you? I don't understand that. Who would be dumb enough to jump him? Now, did this happen in Chicago or something? You know, these guys
New
jumped
York.
you?
It happened in New York.
Really? Now, what happened to the 6 guys that you took out?
We, it's one of those things where you take care of the situation and then you just get out of there. And it was several guys. You were playing 3-card Monte. My dad got involved in the game. I tried to pull him out. They threatened me and they said, "We're going to shoot and kill you if you don't leave us alone." I'm trying to pull my dad out of the situation, and then it ensued. The guy pulled his gun out. He's getting ready to shoot me. I knocked the gun out of his hand. I kicked him in the head. I mean, it goes on and on.
And it's not a movie?
No, it's not a movie. But it sounds like a movie, doesn't it? No, but that's what happened. And it's one of those situations where, you question, is this actually taking place? Is this actually happening right now? And you can't do that. You just have to respond. And you're not there to fight. You're there to survive. So once it was controlled, then we shot out of there. We're out of there.
Let me ask you a question, John, for a quick demonstration, because if you mind doing a quick demo, because a lot of times, people think that when you're fighting, in a street fight, it's organized. And it's not. It's reckless, it's fast, and it's dirty.
Yeah.
So what's the quickest way to end a conflict in the street if you can't walk away?
Just use your voice, use your brain, use your voice. If you can de-escalate a situation, do that. Even pride and ego are the results of eventually being hurt and or killed. So let your pride go, let your ego go. Just save your family, yourself, and use your words, in the process. But if you can't, if you're in a situation where you simply can't, because I'm not going to put myself against somebody who is obviously much stronger than me, much bigger than me. I'm not going to match my strength versus their strength. I'm going to lose. It's the knowledge of what's the most sensitive on the body. Eyes are the most sensitive area of the body. Take something that's just like that, just quick movement, flick to the eye, and that's it. Then it's done. We all get that situation where
Taking notes, Joe.
Yeah.
We need to know this. We need to know this.
We all get the situation where we get dust in the eye, and it debilitates us. And so just knowing that you don't have to have any level of strength, nor even experience in martial arts to know that that's where to target. Eyes, nose, throat, solar plexus, brain, it's all right here. It's all in one line. So if you just target straight down that line with any amount of strikes, you're going to fare well. You're going to do well.
John, for those who are watching, as many people want to know more about you as well. Where can they reach out to you on Facebook, social media, etc.?
Just my name, John Ozuna, Ozuna, through all of TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. They'll see me somewhere out there.
Now, John, you have other things coming up. Tell us a little bit about what you have coming up.
I have actually several projects in the works. So I do have another project with a gentleman that I had worked with previously, Ken Ace Brewer, great guy, great director, great filmmaker. We just spoke within the last couple of days. There's a gentleman by the name of Robert Mukes. Robert Mukes is known for working with Rob Zombie in House of a Thousand Corpses, and among other films. What makes him unique is he is like almost 7 feet tall. So 3 years back, for one of the premieres of movies, he was showed up to the red carpet, and somebody said, "Hey, it would be great if you guys just mixed it up." And I'm not 7 feet tall at all. So it's going to be like a Bruce Lee, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar situation there. So we have that going on. I was just casted, of all things, as Zorro in a remake for Zorro. Yeah, so that's in pre-production right now. There's 2 movies in Romania that they're trying to pull me in for. So there's several projects coming up.
Give me a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. That's quite impressive. We got some great things coming up. John, thank you so much for stopping by on the Sherard Show. Such an honor having him on.
It's my honor.
We have so many things coming up. Make sure you check out The Bouncer, the John Ozuna version of The Bouncer. You can check out Van Dam's as well, but I'm going to check it out tonight as well. And then also, when we join us, ladies and gentlemen, on our next episode, also, because we're going to have him, when the next time he's on the show, we're going to actually have him do a demonstration and show us things. You going to come back, Joe?
Absolutely.
Great. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to come back. We're going to have the man himself, Mr. Dannon Green, on the Sherard Show. He's going to be talking about boxing, comedy, and living in Philly. I'm Sherard. We'll be right back. Right after.
Capture their stunt doubles!
Today, we're going to be featuring stunt people.
I'd like to give you just a little bit of history first, is that there was the BSA, the Black Stuntmen's Association.
Billy D. Williams is one of the biggest names that you stunt double for, but it's a lot more than you think. I get my 5 points. Why we still need daylight savings time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sherard Show. I'm your host, Sherard, having a wonderful time this Saturday afternoon on a very special morning and afternoon episode of the show. Didn't we enjoy John Ozuna? My goodness, this man gave us so much information, and he also taught us how to fight, ladies and gentlemen. He probably has a martial arts book coming out, maybe so, but definitely check him out on The Bouncer as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman to my right is absolutely hilarious. You can see him on The Neighborhood. He also went on tour with Cedric the Entertainer as well as D.L. Hughley. He is the man. He also worked with Dave Chappelle. He is just absolutely hilarious, and he's cleaner than the Board of Health. The man himself, Mr. Dannon Green, first time on the Sherard Show. How are you, sir? It's awesome having you on the show, Dannon. I've watched you do your thing. Dannon, are you one of the guys that in school that you were just naturally funny and everybody was like, you just need to be doing your stuff on stand-up?
Well, yeah, it was kind of like that. Not really with the stand-up, but I was always a talker in school. But when I grew up in Philadelphia, so you can only, when you grew up in the inner city, you can only be so silly. You know what I mean? Because if not, people try to take advantage of everything. So I was kind of kept it, but I was always a talker, and I always was the guy that was crack the joke up in class and things like that. So yeah, I didn't really kind of get more into the entertainment comedy part of it until I went to college. When people, I was able to, maybe show myself a little more. People were like, man, you're a funny guy. So that's how it started.
The funny thing about it, Dannon, is that being funny is natural. You have to be naturally funny, because a lot of people, they study to be funny, but when they try and deliver it, it's not funny. Like, for example, Eddie Murphy gives some of the best stand-up ever. Right. He's naturally funny guy.
Eddie's natural. Yeah.
He's absolutely natural.
Natural.
And you're absolutely natural in terms of that. But do you look at it as a God-given gift, or you just look at situations?
Well, it's funny because you don't really know. I mean, you just you don't know if you're naturally funny. You don't know if you're naturally boring. You just become that person. You know what I mean? But I think for me, I've always been able. I've always liked people, and I think when you like people, and then I've always was quick-witted with it, and it just came so natural to me. You know what I mean? Just storytelling, things like that, talking to people. So it just worked out. I don't know how it came, where it came from.
One thing, like, for example, one of the greatest comedians ever is Rodney Dangerfield. For example, Rodney was so funny. but he looked funny too. You look at him, he was funny. Then he delivered on the way he looked. Right. But now, who are some of the comedians that rank the highest to you? You can just look at him and you can just laugh.
Well, see, that's funny because Rodney Dangerfield was really talented. So the first comic that I think I ever saw that I was like, oh, if I wanted to do comedy, he really made me laugh. Believe it or not, was Steve Martin. And I don't know if you remember that he had that King Tut. You got to be old school to know that. I was a kid, but he did this King Tut impersonation with comedy, and I was laughing as a kid. And then I've always been a deep thinker. So as I started watching comedy more, I got into George Carlin. So
he was deep.
Yeah, so on my bio, you will see the Black George Carlin. You know what I mean? That's what I like to put out there. So George was funny, But then, as you get into the game more, like Dave Chappelle to me, there's only two comedians right now that I actually watch, and I've been around a lot of them. That's Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr. Those are the only two that I really.
Why is that?
Well, Dave is just, Dave is like that naturally funny. Like if you ever watch his old, the Dave Chappelle show, it's just like, it's just funny. Then when I watched his stand-up, his last 3 stand-ups he had, they were just hilarious. Controversial but very funny though. So, and then, pretty much Bill Burr, because he keeps it real. He tells about really what's going on, and that's my style.
So then, for example, like oftentimes people mention, like when they say, "What's your funniest comedians?" They mention Red Fox, for example.
Right.
And for me, Red Fox was funny as a situational comedian
Right.
more so than stand up. I
Right.
mean, that's for me.
No, that's good, yeah.
But there are some comedians that have that rare gift that are funny in situations as well as stand up. You kind of have that gift.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you a crazy, funny story. I did a play years ago called The Soldier Story. Remember that one with Denzel?
I do. Correct.
So I did one of the original plays that was done out here and Chip Fields was the director. And so I actually played the character Wilkie, if you remember him. So he was kind of a little funny, but kind of like, that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did the scene for her, and then she came up to me, and I'll never forget it, she said, "You have the best comedic time I've seen on anybody." And she's been around Jimmy Walker and all of them dudes, so she said that, but I have the time and I think it's about knowing how to, I think comedy timing is the same like in like decorum in life. You know what I mean? You got to know when to pick your spot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you ever see some people that on all the time? That just bothers me. I'm not on all the time.
Right.
I mean?
That's a lot of stress.
Well, yeah, and then you're not. So now, are you being funny, or are you being silly, or you have insecurities? You know what I mean? Like, which one is it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's funny you mention that because, like, Eddie Murphy is not always on.
No, he's not.
I mean, and most people who know Eddie Murphy, he's really not funny. He's just like a quiet guy.
He's really a quiet. Dave Chappelle's another one. Chris Rock's another one. Like if Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, I've been in clubs, so you wouldn't even know they was in the club until you saw them, or somebody gave them a shout out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where there's some comedians that do like 3 or 4, around the clubs, so everybody, oh, look who's here. You know what I mean? So. But Dave's not like that. Chris Rock is like that. And Eddie, I've been around Eddie before, and he was just kind of like mellow, you know what I mean? And, when I first met him, I didn't know what to say. I was like, I said all the dumb things we all said. I really enjoy you. Like when I really should just say, look, we were at the Spirit Ribs. So we was out somewhere at his house. Yeah, because he was eating. We had this big spread. It was a Super Bowl party we went to a long time ago.
One person that was always on was Rodney Dangerfield. He was always on.
He was on, but he was. He was classic on. You know what I mean? Like you just, when you're on, and what I mean by on, like sometimes you could be in a situation that just guy wants to crack a joke. Like it's not even a joke at time. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'm not on all the time, but I definitely when the camera's on, I got the mic. It's a whole different story.
So you actually went on tour with Cedric Entertainer as well.
I did a tour date with Ced, but I've been more dates with DL.
Mm-hmm. And DL's an absolutely hilarious guy too.
He's absolutely a very good person,
and he's very deep thinking too.
He's a deep thinker, and the funny thing about it, he's very controversial. You know what I mean? Like, and what you see a lot when he is broadcasting or he's recording, but off, he's like really laid back. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely different.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking to the man himself, hilarious comedian, Mr. Dannon Green. Dannon Green, first time on the Sherard Show.
Yes.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about him winning the Golden Gloves, as well as how does that fit into comedy. I'm Sherard. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sherard Show. I'm your host, Sherard, having a wonderful conversation with the man himself, Mr. Dannon Green, first time on the Sherard Show, talking about his career, as well as some of the big names he's worked with as well. But now, also, Dannon, you are a ex-Golden Gloves winner, correct?
Yes, sir.
So now, how does comedy and boxing go together?
Keeps me out of trouble. It's crazy. I'm a boxer first. So I've been boxing. I got involved in boxing when I was 14. And then I came in second in the Junior Olympics in 1981 in Philadelphia. And then what happened was I lost my mom. My mom passed when I was younger. So for about 5-6 years, I didn't box, and I was kind of unstable. So I didn't get back involved in boxing until I went to college in undergrad. So what happened was there was a boxing team in town called Davenport Boxing Club. So I went and joined the club, and I had about 2 or 3 fights. But this is undergrad. So what happened was I'm training one time, and what I didn't know, and I found out later that Michael Second to None, was from Davenport, Iowa, and from that gym. So he was coming back for a fight, like having this big fight in town. It was like 3 fights before he won the world title. So I'm hitting the bag, and we didn't even know. I didn't know if I was gonna be able to come up to the gym. There's cameras everywhere and everything like that. And the Goosens who were from out here were out there, and they go. Vino Pena was the trainer at the time, the manager. Well, he ran the gym, the owner. He goes, Green. I'm like, yeah. You want to box none? I'm like, not really, but but they needed a left-hand sparring partner for him on Southpaw. Mm-hmm. So I sparred none for like 2 days, and they were like, and everybody was shocked. They were like, well, you're pretty good. Now he had did most of his heavy sparring out here, but for what I did out there, they were like, wow, so people didn't know it. So I got involved in it more heavily. And then when I went to grad school, I went to Ohio State. I joined another boxing team out there, and I won the Golden Gloves in '89 and '90. Back and back.
Give him a round of applause. Back to back. So with that kind of pedigree, why didn't you go pro?
So it's a great question. So what happened was I lost one fight. I lost one fight before going to the Nationals. Went to the region, lost to go to the Nationals. And actually, I really didn't lose, but I lost. But the night before, the fight before, I had sprained my ankle in the fight. So I didn't get to, like your other guests, right, knows, you have to, if you have a fight the night before, especially when you're doing a tournament, you want to be able to walk, at least jump rope, keep yourself sharp. I couldn't do that. I had to stay in the bed the whole time. So I lost that fight. So then I had 2 groups interested in signing me. One was Sugar Ray Leonard's people, and another one was a guy out of Columbus, Ohio. So I got invited down to Ray Leonard's gym to spar with 2 of his sparring partners so they could look at me. So they liked me, but what happened was Ray Leonard was about to come back in for his last fight with Terry Norris. So they said, well, we like him, but we can't train him right now because, so then, and that sparring was tough. That was, pro fighting is tough. And if to be a good pro fighter, you have to live, eat, and drink it. You become a machine. And I was like, do I really want to do that? I said, I just spent 6 years of college. I had just grabbed my master's, and I was like, boxing or education? I said, education a little safer. So I went ahead and decided to not turn pro. But I had a chance to a couple opportunities. People thought I would have been a better pro than even the amateur. Really? Because I had the style.
Now what was your style like?
I was a boxer puncher.
So who can we resemble? Who can you say resemble in today's era?
Well, the people that I admired at the time was Marvin Hagler, Alexis Arguello, and Tommy Hearns. Mm-hmm. So I could say I had that because I had good power too.
Those guys are some of the greatest you just mentioned. Yeah. And I guess you kept coming like Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler, nothing back him up. He was always kept coming.
Hagler, nothing backed him up. Rest in peace to him. Yes. But you know what it was? I was a good boxer. I had good eyes. Mm-hmm. And I think when you're a fighter, if you got good eyes, it's better because I would see the shots coming, mm-hmm. And see the shots that I want to get. Very
good. Now you heard what John said about diffusing a situation that may come de-escalating, etc. Right. So you agree with what he said, or do you want to add something to it?
No, I totally agree. I mean, I'd rather buy you a beer. You know what I'm saying? Just like, look, man, we ain't gonna do this. I mean, when the thing about fighting things like that is it's funny because I was coming here and I was thinking about that, not even about the show, but I was thinking about like if someone would challenge me, I would be more on the offense, because it probably would be something that they started, which means I'm not mad. So now I got to put myself in that energy mode to be offensive with them. But my whole thing is like, and I've been in a situation before. I rather, we ain't got to do this. I said, because I always tell people, and even now I say, look, I might not beat you, but at the end you're gonna know you had a lot. You're gonna be thinking about this situation again. So let's not go there. Let's just go and have a beer, talk about it. Play some pool. What the hell?
Very good, very good. Now, Dannon, one of the boxers that came from Philly that is quite prominent is Bernard Hopkins.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody loved Bernard Hopkins. He's an incredible fighter. He actually learned how to box in prison, and he came out and he was phenomenal. If they fought in a hypothetical match, Marvin Hagler, Bernard Hopkins, who would win?
I got Hagler.
I got Hagler too.
Yeah. But so here's the funny thing about Bernard. But we beat Bernard twice in the amateurs. My boy beat Bernard before he went to prison. So what happened was Bernard was a fighter. He was already boxing. He used to, I think it was Together Brothers or something like that. He used to fight for them. And my boy Mike Wells beat him twice in the amateurs from my gym. So the big thing is I have a documentary that's out called The Executioners, and it's a boxing documentary.
That's Bernard Hopkins' nickname.
So see, that's what everybody thinks.
Uh-huh.
But we had a gym called The Executioners. We were out 10 years before Bernard even started boxing. So that was the controversy.
Wow.
So, make a long story short, I produced this documentary that you can see. It's on Tubi TV right now. And so I had produced the documentary. Chris Spencer actually was one of the persons that became that's very important in terms of helping me get a couple of fighters. But to make a long story short, we shot the documentary. We were in 12 film festivals. We won awards in 2. And then in the documentary, when I interviewed some of the guys from my gym, I asked them how do they feel about Bernard using the name. So they were like not mad, but like they wish he would have gave us recognition. And then it came that Chris Spencer met Bernard Hopkins in the airport. He left a message on my phone. I wound up getting Bernard for my documentary. So I did another version of the documentary. He's in it. And I asked him those questions. And he comes, he gives his answer. Everybody had their feel or thoughts of what they felt was true or was not. But I allowed him to at least, give his side of the story. So it was really interesting.
Very impressive.
Yeah,
Give him a round of applause. Very good stuff. No, we can watch it on Tubi?
Oh, yeah, it's on Tubi right now. It's called The Execution.
Okay, give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Very good stuff. Yes. So now you have a lot of things upcoming. Just tell us a bit about what you have upcoming.
I just did the show, the Neighborhood with Cedric. Very good look for me. Had a guest starring role in that. Mm-hmm. I have some big show I'm hosting this coming up this September with Club Nouveau. They're honoring Marla Gibbs. They're honoring Larson. I forgot his first name. Larson. They used to be married to Beyonce.
Oh, Richard Lawson. He's on the show.
And some other people. But I have like a lot of shows that are coming up, some tours, and then I write screenplays and films and television too. So I have like 5 scripts, and I have a film right now we're pushing right now. So I got a number of projects.
Dannon, I know you're sizing me up for the role. So what role you got? Go ahead in a minute. What role you got for me?
It's funny you saying that. I was thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting here and saying,
No, you weren't. Stop making that up.
Okay, I'm lying.
Yeah, he's lying.
But it sounds good.
It does. It sounds good. You're lying.
No, but you know what? We'll see. You know what I'm saying? I got to see which one. But we have some good projects and stuff coming up. And I mean, I always tell people when people ask me, what you got going on, I say, I'm like everybody else in this town. We all trying to get, the number one thing in this whole town, I believe, is once you get finance. Mm-hmm. There's 1,001 projects. That's not the issue. It's about getting finance for it, getting it out there, and then see if you can get distribution. So there's enough streaming services out there. There's enough places to get it. Just get your money. But no, things are really good. Things are good, man.
Really appreciate it.
And I got a big show coming up. Matter of fact, how I got in touch with you, or you got in touch with me, was I got a big show coming up June 20th in Vegas.
Really?
Yeah, and Peanut, Peanut,
right? Right.
But everybody knows Peanut. Mm-hmm. AJ Johnson's recipes, his brother.
He looks and acts just like him.
Yeah, he does. He's going to be the host of that show. So,
yeah, very good, very good.
Can I tell you people a funny story about Peanut?
Please do.
So Peanut started doing stand up. He was doing well. So we were in a comedy competition at the old Hollywood Park Casino, and the thing was, it was a $1,500 first prize, and it came down to like 3 or 4 comedians, and Peanut was one of them. So Peanut was about to go to jail, right? He had caught a case. Yeah. So he said, "Look, can you let me win so I can have some money? so I can have some money to go to jail."
That sounds like Peanut.
Yeah. So, but I didn't let him win, so he went broke. I'm not that kind of guy.
and he still remained your friend?
Oh, we're still friends. Yeah, I would have put some money on his books if he asked, but he had to do that time without that money. So.
Cold-blooded killer, ladies and gentlemen. Cold-blooded.
Hey, we all got to eat.
Danny, for those who are watching, where can they reach out to you?
Oh yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Dannon Green 66 and Facebook, and I got the nickname D Grizzle on TikTok. But other than that, I would say I haven't gotten on X yet, because in the beginning you're going to do 140 characters, and I'm like, I'm gonna get canceled by the time I get my other part of my answer out. So, but you can find me on those platforms.
Give Dannon Green after our final commercial break, you're gonna have my final thoughts right after this. This gentleman has an incredible sound. He's opened up for some of the biggest names in the industry.
Recently, I've been playing with bands, for the last, 15 years or so.
When I was growing up, music videos sold the music.
I remember waiting with bated breath because they would tease a little bit on the video. I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sherard Show. I'm your host, Sherard. Had a wonderful show. I hope did everybody enjoy the show? Oh my goodness. We really appreciate John Ozuna stopping by the show. My goodness, learned so much about him as well. Make sure you check out The Bouncer and all of the things he has upcoming as well. He will be returning on the show at a later date. So excited. Make sure you follow him on Facebook and all the social media platforms as well. And then also we had the hilarious Dannon Green on the Sherard Show. Give him a round of applause as well. Make sure you support his show in June, and then also check him out on the neighborhood, as well as all the things he has upcoming as well. It's very impressive. I want to definitely check out that documentary called The Execution. I'm going to check it out tonight. You going to check it out tonight, Janelle? It's really going to be some good stuff. Make sure you follow him. Check him out as well. And also make sure you ask me how you get your free phone. This is a beautiful phone, actually, ladies and gentlemen. This one is a fold-up phone. You can get it absolutely free. You have to qualify for it. You don't even pay the taxes for it. Ask me after the show, or you can always hit me up on Pure Essence right there on your monitor, or also the Sherard Show at gmail.com. And then join me when we're on our next episode. We're going to be on location for the launch party of Blunt Heads featuring John Boy Watts as well as Michael Collier. Ice-T is going to be there. You don't want to miss it. It's downtown LA. And then also we have the lovely Holly Berry stopping by on the show. She's going to be here. Can't wait for that. Make sure you keep it locked here on Pure Essence Television, as well as Airy TV and iHeartRadio for all the great things we have coming up. And always remember, ladies and gentlemen, the best way to get back on your feet is the mystery car payments. I'm Sherard. We'll see you next time. Bye now.